We'll bring to order the Monday, January 26th, meeting of the Parks and Recreation, Town of Corte Madera. Stand and. Rebecca, can you do roll call, please? Oh,
Commissioner Hoskins is here, just arriving to the dais. Commissioner Rose is absent. Commissioner Stoliar,
Present.
Commissioner Zamack,
Present.
Commissioner Hanson,
Present.
and Vice Chair Condaria,
Present.
and Chair Miles.
present.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, we will, before we start with items on our agenda, we'll open public comment. For items not on our agenda, members of the public will be given 3 minutes apiece and can either raise a hand or email public comments to publiccomment@cortemadera.gov. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make a comment? Rebecca, do you have any email comment or raised hands?
I do not see any raised hands from online attendees, and we did not receive any emailed public comment for open time.
So with that, we will close public comment at this time and move on to our presentation, starting with the annual programming report for 2025 by Parks and Recreation Director Tim Berry, Sydney, Steve, Aaron, and Alex. So here we are.
Good evening, everybody. We have the whole crew here pretty much. So you guys want to come up to the podium and introduce yourselves? Let me launch my slide deck here. Last year, we kind of came and I get to talk, and I think it's better for you to hear the people who are directly in the programs every day. So why don't you all introduce yourselves, and then I will load the slide deck.
Hello, Commission. Can you hear me now? Is this good? Hi, I'm Sydney Bliss, Recreation Supervisor. I oversee some of the after-school enrichment programs, special events, and generally everything else.
Oh gosh, I'm short. Hi, I'm Erin Duggan, and I'm a recreation coordinator. I plan the after-school programs and the programs for adults with developmental disabilities and some adult programming as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Detweiler, supervisor, run facilities and facility attendants and help with special events.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Duran Esparza. I am the director for the Corte Madera Children's Center and for our Camp Corte Madera.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Poretz. I'm the site coordinator for the Corte Madera Children's Center and Camp Corte Madera.
We're going to kind of round robin this, so stay with us. So annually, we come out and kind of talk about programs that we've done for the years, kind of a recap with some administrative numbers and kind of participation numbers so people kind of have a clue what was going on a daily basis. First up, tonight we're going to talk about a couple of categories. First, communication. We do to kind of get the word out, programs and classes, special events, the town civic organizations we work with and support, and our projects that we are planned for the upcoming year. And Sydney is up first.
Okay, well, first up, we have talking about communication. Communication continues to be a core function of the department and supports all program offerings. In 2025, we used multiple platforms, as you can see, our activity guide being one of the biggest ways we get information out. And looking ahead to 2026, we actually brought our activity guide in-house for designing. So starting for summer 2026, you'll see kind of a new layout to the guide, different colors, different things going on, and we'll just be expanding on that.
Next up is Aaron.
Let's see. Okay. So our youth and adult recreation programs did very well in 2025. We had really strong numbers. Our total enrollment was 3,485. That's 1,500 more than last year, than 2024. Our youth programs performed the best. That's where most of the demand is, and we're meeting that demand. The reason we're able to give so many classes for the younger population is because we have several sites in which to offer them. We have to offer them at Cove and Neil Cummins. Plus, we have the dance studio, the pickleball courts, the tennis courts, and the skate park. We also offer a few classes at the community center itself. In trying to meet that demand, we had to add more instructors. So we added 4 more art teachers, and they're all teaching several different classes. We had 2 skateboard instructors added, and we added some music classes. So we have now a Glee program that's doing exceptionally well, and guitar. And this year we added ukulele. All of our current teachers change their curriculum each session, so our programming always looks fresh and new. We have specialty summer camps. Some children and parents want a smaller, more focused camp experience, and our camps have approximately just between 6 and 15 kids per camp. The adult programs did well also, and we hope to broaden those in 2026. Next. Rec Inc. is a part of the Corte Madera Rec that offers programs for adults with developmental disabilities. And the mission statement for that program, or the goal, is to bring the maximum number of people with developmental disabilities into recreational activities, local events, and philanthropic service, thereby empowering them and helping them to find a place in the larger community. The Corte Madera Recreation Department integrates those programs by creating over 400 volunteer opportunities per year. These programs are my favorite because we get to introduce so many community members to this wonderful part of our population. Through the volunteer opportunities, the general public is granted a wonderful experience. In my opinion, they are the kindest, most joyful, expressive, and genuine human beings you'll ever meet, and I'm honored to be in their presence every week. The volunteers that we get are primarily from the high schools. Marin Catholic requires each child to do a 50-hour project, so we get a lot of volunteers from there. We also get them from Redwood, Catherine Branson, and in Mill Valley. And then we get a smattering from Hall Middle School as well. Thank you.
All right, next up is going to bounce to me. Christina, our rec assistant who works on senior program. She's not here tonight. She has class. So a little bit of adult program, serves the community, providing a place to engage with community members through a variety of activities. A couple numbers from this year: fitness classes. The new Tai Chi class that Commissioner Stolier was able to get us through grant had 507 people this year, which was great. We had a total of 453 people in our senior fitness class, which happens on Mondays. Drop-in is pretty huge for free play. Bridge and Mahjong. Bridge has had 560 players last year, and Mahjong had 360, which is good numbers for a free program to drop in. Bingo every Thursday had 761 people for the year, and our Thursday senior lunch program served over 1,700 meals on Thursdays for the year of 2025, which is a big number. And last, our senior and balance class, which is our Monday, Wednesday class, probably our most popular, had over 2,000 people participate throughout the year. Regularly, there's 40 to 50 people in class every day, and they really appreciate the senior balance class. Next, I have Alex and Pogo to share about the Children's Center.
So this is our 5th year as the Corte Madera Children's Center. I think what makes our program stand out and what families love the most is our flexibility when it comes to registration. We offer monthly, daily registration for families, so they choose the days of the week they want for the month, and we charge a daily fee accordingly. And as you can see on the PowerPoint, this is our 3 childcare options we offer: a 1st through 5th grade option. We offer a kinder full day option and a kinder part day to kind of bridge the gap for families that have kinders and 1st through 5th graders. On non-school days, we do offer 2 different options as well: full day and a kind of rec day 9 to 3 option. This year stands out the most out of our 5 years. It's the first time in our 5 years that we kind of reach capacity on a daily basis. So we have 2 portables that we utilize and hold childcare. And those portables, we have a maximum capacity of 60 students that we can carry in both. And for our 1st through 5th grade option, we've been reaching capacity specifically on early dismissal days. And so that's very exciting. We're trying to find different opportunities to kind of add as many families as we can, but clearly the need is growing, and that just makes us want to expand our ideas for in the future, having more possibilities to have more students, enrolled in our programs. And also we love that partnering with our extracurricular activities that we offer at the Parks and Rec, families that enroll in our program, we are able to facilitate walking them to and from these extracurricular activities. So families get to offer their children the best of both worlds, and we can help accommodate that. And so that's a little bit about our aftercare program this year. So for Camp Corte Madera, this has been my 2nd year as acting as director for summer camp. I kind of wanted to utilize our aftercare structure when it came to registration and incorporate that for our summer camp. Allowing families the flexibility of choosing the days they want for summer has helped us tremendously. Specifically, this 2nd year of me acting as director, we have seen tremendous growth in our numbers consistently for the whole summer. We've had good numbers of participants, and that was kind of straying from we first had a summer school that we offered and catered to, and now since summer school's over, now it's full-time us. And we offer a full day option of 9 to 5 for families and a half day option 12 to 5. We are coordinating with our summer specialty classes and camps to offer families, that extra care option so that their children can also be enrolled in those programs in the morning or afternoon. And now we have been offering a supervised lunch to kind of bridge the gap, that 12 to 1 hour. We get to bring them over to lunch with us and then, take them to their next activity. Some of the field trips and special events that we had this summer was AMF bowling, exploratorium, Scandia, and rebounders. The special events that have been a camp favorite is the Camp Olympics, and the last days are Camp Carnival. Alex is gonna share some of the new field trips and special events that we're gonna incorporate for this coming summer.
Families just couldn't get enough of the field trip, so we added one more. We're going to be adding the Oakland Zoo, but based off our numbers last year, I think that it'll only be a benefit to our camp. Our CIT program has been growing every year. We now have CITs who are staff members. We had 2 last summer that were CITs and grew to be a paid staff member. So that's what we want, and that's what we got, and it's amazing. Thank you.
All right, back to Sydney to talk about events.
Okay, so we have planned, these are department-led community events. We plan and produce directly within our department. So they focus on creating accessible, family-friendly, and seasonal experiences for our community. The events range in activities and themes and holidays, and we're just trying to encourage participation from all the different age groups, all the members of our community. Many of these events are low cost or free to help reduce barriers of participation. And the events provide consistent opportunities for residents to gather, connect, and build a sense of community throughout the year. Especially this year, I wanted to kind of there is a lot of events on the list, but I wanted to point out our Wicked movie event that was very seasonal and kind of a one-off. We did a Taylor Swift event a couple years ago. So trying to bring in something that's new and fresh every year. It keeps it fun for us, but it also keeps it fun for the community. And then our Royal Ball is coming up next week. So we just love to see that event keep growing and expanding, and all the opportunities that we're providing. So.
All right, Steve has the coolest slide, I have to admit. All right, Steve, you're up.
All right, yeah. So community center, as you can hear, is nonstop. We have during the day a lot of our senior events going on, our youth events going on. We have mini music, so there's always something going on during the week at our facility. Of the weekends that we had 48 available weekends where renters could secure a private rental. And of those 48 available weekends, we had 36 weekend rentals. The renters love that our facility is a one-stop shop. When they come to our facility, they get access to our 175 chairs, our dining tables, which we have 22 of. We have buffet tables, 22 of those. We have a projector that's 12 by 20. We have speaker systems. We have audio-visual equipment. We have an on-site staff individual to help with any questions and help with the audio-visual equipment. We have a full kitchen that the renters love because they get to choose their caterer or if they want to cook their food at the facility. And they also love the private patio that they have where they can have their parties and just have it to themselves on the beautiful days where they get to enjoy the Corte Madera weather. So the rentals have been great. They also really appreciate the parking that's really located directly across from the facility, as well as the overrun parking, if there's overrun parking over at Pixley. So they really enjoy just the convenience of it. The fees are very competitive and they're very simple to understand. We don't have a bunch of weekend fees. It's a one fee, resident, non-resident, or for the Corte Madera or Larkspur nonprofits. We also hold our community center holds the women's club every Tuesday. We had 50 meetings at the community center. And we're also including the giant indoor yard sale, which is coming up. The Lions Club holds a meeting there the second and the fourth Thursdays of every year or of every month, excuse me. And they also have a crab feed coming up. We have the Rec Inc. events there Friday nights. We host senior lunches. We have the big band dance there every Wednesday or the second Wednesday of every month. We have the town band come in there seasonally twice a year. We have the Marin Search and Rescue Appreciation Dinner there, NRG meetings, non-Nigerians, awards dinner. We have Repair Fair, CMFC wine tasting fundraisers, AARP courses. We're now hosting the Tamalpais Union High School district meetings. Redwood Athletics are really starting to take advantage of the facility and using the facility more for their banquets, their award nights, and just their launch parties. Volunteer fairs, Spark fundraisers, the list goes on. So it's been a fantastic facility. People really enjoy it. And our Neil's Coming gym that we also use, we have the CYO volleyball in there. They use it from April through October, and then CYO basketball comes in and they use it from November through March. And that's 5 days a week. And then our CMFC program loves our outdoor facilities, and we're very excited to be renovating our East Fields. And I think our Public Works Department has done a fantastic job of renovating all of our fields and keeping them up and green and beautiful and then exciting for the kids to show up to work every day. So facilities are doing really well over here at Corte Madera. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm here to talk about department-supported community events. So in addition to our Parks and Rec led events, the department plays a key role in supporting major community traditions. In 2025, staff supported a wide range of events, including the 4th of July celebration, summer concert series, Oktoberfest, volunteer recognition dinner, the Nonagenarians and Centenarians event. And these events strengthen the community connections, support local organizations, and enhance the quality of life for all ages. Department support often includes logistics, coordination, facility use, and staff presence at these events just to make sure everything runs smoothly and safely. And the work reflects our role not only as program providers or program creators, but as community partners.
Thank you, Sydney. All right, I get to bring us home. So we will talk fees in the first staff report. But these are organizations that have been approved by Commission and Town Council as town civic organizations, which means to use our facilities and our programs, there's no associated costs with the programs. We support them by hosting activities, hosting events. If they need help setting something up, or if they need help with a program or a process, we're there to help them. So everything from the Lions Club to the Community Foundation to Age Friendly Corte Madera to recently Larkspur Corner School District Foundation. So literally, when Steve talks about there's so many dates open, a lot of these dates are booked by these organizations, and then he fills the rest in with the private rentals who are wanting to use the facilities. A couple quick projects. I look back on this year; it was a busy year. Skylab Skate Park opened. We renovated Cove Park Picnic area. There's an enhanced field maintenance, and the town park pickleball courts were all built in 2024. Looking at 2025, a couple things in the 2026 work plan: renovation, town park playground will hopefully get started in the next month. Menke Park obviously will also hopefully start the next month, and the town park East Field also in the next month. Those are three pretty big projects to be completed in 2026. The other big one is hopefully the opening of the Corte Madera Recreational Center, summer of 2026. As Patty and I keep our fingers crossed, that's the plan. From the strategic planning session on Friday, the other list is the outdoor fitness equipment to do some exploration, like you guys had discussed, to come back and work on that for the first part of the year. And then kind of review capacity at the mid-year work plan is check in with Public Works and check in with staff, say, where are we? What have we accomplished? What can we accomplish more? And those items are still there. They're just on the work plan as we're going to check back in halfway through to see where we're at. And that is kind of a report and review of the year. Happy to answer any questions. I'm happy that all my staff are here to answer any questions. I know it seems a lot crammed in, but it is a busy year and a busy rec center. We are constantly bubbling and doing stuff. So I appreciate all the hard work by all my staff, all of our contractors, and all the community members who use our facility on a regular basis.
Start with just thank you. I think as a resident, I'm super proud of all the things that we do for the community. From all of the events to all the program to our incredible facilities to our childcare program, which is the envy of everybody that is there. So I'll start with a thank you. Questions from the commission for any of the staff, and then we'll open public comment and then discussions as needed.
Yeah, I'll start by echoing the thank you sentiment. I think that there's so much in here that we are so way ahead of our time on doing, so I really appreciate that. I had a question about the rental fees. So when we do rent out to private groups, Doug, do you know what we charge usually? Sorry, making you get up.
So one of the staff reports tonight is a whole discussion on rental fees.
Oh,
Yeah, there's an entire discussion of what we currently charge, what surrounding cities charge, and what we charged in the past.
okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
about
Steve.
that. Made you get up unnecessarily?
Other questions?
I have.
Yeah, Patty.
This came up on Friday too, when the council said that we will revisit things at the half-year point. I wasn't sure, was that a calendar year or a fiscal year? When's the half-year point?
Usually in July, we kind of look at where we are going forward.
Half Gregorian year, but not half fiscal year.
Correct.
Just to be confusing.
A lot of it will depend on what projects got spent or didn't get spent, what money's still there, and what's bandwidth for staff.
I have a quick question for the children's center. Do we ever have to you guys take drop-ins, right? Like, do we ever have to reject anyone if they needed it for the day or yeah?
Yes, we take drop-ins. We allow anyone to drop in as long as they make the request before 1 p.m. the day of.
Oh.
So we're very flexible. Obviously, we realize that things happen,
Mhm.
and we just want to be there for families as much as possible.
They have to be in the district, right? They have to go to either New Cummings or
I always say we take anybody as long as they can get to us.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Nice.
And sorry, just continuing on that. So in terms of when you're at capacity, are there places that you can refer people to, or is it just like sorry, we don't have any space anymore?
I think we've never fully preferred anybody to another camp. I mean, there's always Andrew's camp, but yeah, we usually just say we're at capacity.
Okay.
You said you guys walk them to the other activities too? So they all do the same thing or everyone kind of does different things?
So The extracurricular activities that the Parks and Rec offers, the dance studio on the field, the classrooms of Neil Cummins. We walk our students that are enrolled in aftercare that have those extracurricular activities to and from them.
Thanks.
Concierge service. Come to childcare, soccer starts, we'll get you dressed, we'll get you to soccer, we'll come pick you up.
I
Get you
cannot
back to
wait.
childcare. Deal.
Continuing off of that, so how often are we turning people away? Do you know, like approximately? Like, how often are we like, hey, we're at capacity? Is it like reoccurring or?
Our families are slowly learning, unfortunately, that Wednesdays are the days that we do have to turn families away. So they are finding alternate childcare options. But I would say maybe at least once every week, just on Wednesdays, because that's the one day that we can actually legally not take any more children.
It might help to explain like how they register, like how far in advance they can register for to choose the dates, and then how they do day up.
So registration is very consistent. So on the 20th of every month, it opens for the following month. So for this month, January 20th, it opened for February dates. And you have the window until the last day of January to choose your dates. And then we close the window for families, and that's when they need to reach out specifically to us so that we can manually sign them up if they have additional dates. But we give them a good week and a half for them to find their calendars and figure out their schedule for the following month, and they are allowed to choose their dates on their own.
And I'll chime in a little. A lot of that is just on staffing, right? So if they need extra staff, Steve will hop in, Sydney will hop in, I'll hop in just to get them to ratios so they can have it, because they have obviously a big influx of kids to start. They dwindle off. So sometimes the highlight day is getting out of the office and going and playing basketball or whatever else is to get out. But a lot of times we will support them anyway, just because it's hard to find quality staff and keep quality staff. So when they're getting close, we'll go over and, Sydney will walk some kids over to dance studio, or Steve will walk some kids over to childcare, whatever else. So we always help on what we can.
Do you guys have any wish list items? Is it not the right time to ask? It's just a long list.
This might not even be possible, but just a space so that we can grow. Right now, it's like, yes, it's about staffing. We do have great staff and we do love the people who help. But at the end of the day, it's the building space. Like we can't actually take it more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Other questions?
I mean,
No question, but
this is also a tiny small thing. For the Rec Inc. program's diagram, the key at the bottom of it says blue is volunteers and yellow is caregivers, and then the actual diagram itself is the opposite, and then the numbers don't reflect the ratio of which one it is. So I was wondering which color is
I
which
see.
one.
Sadly, mine is black and white, so that's not going to help me much. So the caregivers, yeah, so I guess disregard what's ever on the bottom, but the numbers in the pie chart with the labels are correct. Are you talking about the little dots underneath?
Yeah, because
disregard
it
the
looks
cube.
looks like caregivers and volunteers on the pie chart
are
are switched.
switched, and
That's
then
all.
that's what I figured because the numbers were unequal in terms of the ratio. Okay, that's it. Sorry.
No, thank you.
The visual helps though. No, I just wanted to say thank you. And obviously you said what a wonderful job you all are doing, and really an amazing part about our community. And personally I trust the Alexes with my child's life. So thank you for all of this.
At this time, we'll open public comment. There is no one else from the public. Is there anybody raised hands or email public comment?
There are no raised hands and we did not receive any emailed public comment.
And so now, discussion, if we should have it. I don't know if there's more people who like this, so somebody should vet it before we go and do it. But language arts classes for adults, like language speaking classes for adults. cooking classes in the kitchen. Okay, I'm getting so now it's, I know. Wouldn't it be really fun though? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we need to teach. Yeah. Mm. Got it. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, another idea is I can almost guarantee you that every single high school has some form of a cooking club that they would be happy to be like, for their college hours, be like, I volunteered to teach this many people how to cook, and they're typically cooking for a cause and they're doing it for free for volunteering. So that's another.
Yeah, and another alternative, I don't know how attractive this is, but what about a hybrid version, right? So I have a venue in Sausalito and I get requests all the time for companies that are like, hey, we'll rent out your space and bring in like 20 people. We bring in all of our own equipment. They charge them like $300 a head. Ridiculous. But if you were to say, hey, we'll waive the venue fee for you, right? We have a space. You can bring in 50% of your people, and then we want 50% of it to be programming and donated spaces. I'm sure that they would agree to that because like the value proposition is there, right? So they're still making their money and they bring 15 people from our side to be able to go to the cooking class. And it's like really high quality stuff that someone else would pay $300 for.
And where are you seeing, is that out of another department's rec stuff? I mean, where are you seeing this?
No, so like I just have like a private space that people rent out.
Yeah.
And they requested for that.
Oh, I see.
It's just like inbound leads.
Okay.
But I can definitely like give you their
I would love
information.
that. I mean, I think brainstorming in any capacity would be very helpful at this point. And as for the teenagers coming in to teach, in order to teach a class, they have to have insurance and they have to be fingerprinted. There's steps that have to be followed that make some people just fall off because they don't want to do the insurance but I still feel like we can find it because it used to occur. So I have not lost.
Maybe instead of teaching it, they could also just help advertise it. So
Yeah, helping out is great. We love helping out. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
And then my last one, I think we already do this, and I think it's an external group that brings in repair days where you can like bring in your stuff that's broken and they fix it for you. Yes. Yes, I like a repair fair. So those are my pet things. Okay. So that is just 2 cents.
You
'Cause I
have
have
a
a
wish list.
microphone. Yes.
You have a wish list.
That is my wish list for my microphone. Please vet them, make sure other people want to do it too. But okay. Great. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Dancing.
Dancing.
It's a great dance hall. We should be dancing.
Another thing, this is not going to sound as
Sure.
glamorous as like the cooking classes and everything, but I feel like one of the things that was so pivotal to like my growth as an individual was like we did Kumon, and I grew up at like a private school in India, so it's very different. But like having something of that equivalent, like I kid you not, I was born math dyslexic, and by the time I was 11, I was competing in math Olympics in China because of Kumon. Like it is insane, and I feel like it was like I don't know, it's like the speed element and the focus element. It was just like insanely beneficial. So if we could do some programming like that.
I have actually heard community members talk and specifically more about bringing it onto the school campuses and working with the PTO to kind of augment math and learning at school. So it may be more of a school community center partnership to do that, but because we do have there, we have Kumon in the town center, but kind of bringing it to
It's
campus.
also very expensive. So a lot of people are not able to get to Kumon. And like, I feel like that's something that like really helps you in the future in your life too. So figuring out how to
it's opposite of what the school's teach, then we're doing the service. So I haven't yet found someone that has come to me with something that the school thought beneficial. And I haven't focused on that, but I think you're right, that it's needed, and I think financially, like you're saying, people need help, kids need help. And they can't afford a lot
Yeah.
of programs.
And I think maybe even positioning it not as like a, hey, this is another form of tutoring to get you further in class, but genuinely just saying like this helps with your brain understanding the logic behind math. So even if it's not entirely curriculum compatible, you do start to see the benefit, right? So like, and I'm sure there's a way to like download workbooks that Kumon has, and like they've spent millions on R&D, right? So like Mathletes and Kumon, like getting some version of that, even if it's not like directly in link with Redwood's curriculum, I think it still is something, if we position it right and they aren't expecting for tutoring, I think it can still be really helpful.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
And I'll see if I can remember who it was from the PTO that I was talking to, and that could help too.
I wanted to sort of put in the 2 cents about the outdoor equipment, that there was a post on Nextdoor and 40 people commented on it. And one person said, I would like to see ping pong. So ping pong is something that I had brought up years ago, and we tried to do it out on the patio. The ball would roll under the bushes, and that was the end of it. So we need to have like a ping pong space. Something that's too small for anything else could be the ping pong room. But it's very popular in other areas, and I know they have it at Vivillon. Thanks.
Great. That's all I got. Moving on to the next topic.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, everybody,
you so much.
again. That was amazing.
Can I give you the contact for the cooking class before?
Aaron,
My love.
Aaron.
Oh. And then I'll let her know you'll reach out. I appreciate that. Of course.
All right. Oh, we're moving on to the consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is routine matters that have been previously discussed or do not require further discussion. Any member of the public is welcome to make a comment or pull an item from the consent calendar for further discussion. We'll start by asking if anyone from the commission would like to pull anything from our consent calendar for discussion. Anyone from the public? Do we have any public comment, Rebecca?
There are no raised hands, and we received no public comment on this item.
Well, that will bring it back to the commission for a possible motion. Would anyone like to move to approve the minutes from the January 8th special commissioner meeting?
I move to approve the minutes from the January 8th special commission regular meeting.
Commission regular meeting, it was called.
I second that motion.
Rebecca, can we get a vote, please?
Commissioner Hoskins?
Yes.
Commissioner Rose is absent. Commissioner Stoliar?
Yes.
Commissioners Mack?
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Kondaria?
Yes.
And Chair Miles?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Thank you. And now we'll talk business items. First, a review in the summary of the 2025 Corte Madera Recreation Scholarship Program.
Sorry, it gets so small, the small screen. Okay, here we go. So kind of a little bit of background. When I first got here in 2023, one of my tasks was to revamp the entire scholarship program. We were kind of outdated, built how to fill out the forms. They didn't quite know how it all worked. So that was one of my first projects. The commission approved it in January of 2024, and then council approved it in April of 2024. It has rapidly grown, as you'll see in the numbers in a few minutes after the last 2 years. We post all materials are both available in English and Spanish online and given to the schools directly. Here are examples of kind of what the form looks like. We're constantly updating and changing the form. The hardest part is people fill out, I want a scholarship, but it's like, well, what do you want it for? We're trying to, it's like, if it's for soccer, if it's for after school classes, it's very helpful to know what they want, just to figure out, how we can best fit their needs for their request. Philosophy has always been designed to increase awareness or create access to childcare and enrichment opportunities for residents of the community. The program provides financial assistance to youth, adults, and families who may otherwise face economic barriers to participate in educational, recreational, enrichment programs. So basically, we know there are kids and adults who can't afford the programs. We have money in The scholarship fund funded from the sales tax to help people take these programs on a regular basis. Kind of information about how the program works. It's currently open to any Corte Madera Larkspur resident or any Larkspur Corte Madera LCMSD student. So basically, the requirement when we first started was we had graded Marin, and we were pulling people from outside of Marin. Didn't make sense. So we honed it down to say, look, it's got to be a Corte Madera Larkspur resident or a district student. Our Corte Madera FC club has created a separate fund for those players who don't meet this qualification. As a club, we have a lot of kids who come from outside of Corte Madera Larkspur. They have their own funding that basically helps offset some of this cost. If a player is from Corte Madera, we do give them a scholarship too, and they make additional funding from the club from outside. Youth scholarships are allocated at $400 max per person or $1,000 max per family, and $200 per scholarship for adults. Obviously, it's not a ton of money, but we start there. So we say, look, if we need childcare every day, we'll start this allocation. Then if I have more additional funds, I can use them for it. Or I can go back and ask town council for more funds to allocate so they can participate in programs. We currently take requests at any time, but they're literally allocated twice a year, once in May for kind of the summer, then once again in August for all the school year activities to figure out how much people are asking for classes. This year we had 75 total applications and we're able to award over $667,000 in scholarships. That is up from last year, but it's still a pretty robust number. Some of that money is from sales tax fund and some of it's from the donations from the Corte Madera Lions Club, our women's club, who give us money annually every year for kids to take scholarships for summer. This is how you qualify. So we basically follow the same Department of Housing and Community Development standards that all scholarship programs do. So they have to at least meet this requirement. So it is a little bit of, okay, fill the forms out, make sure you qualify. Once you qualify, we're able to give you a scholarship. We are very much conscious of how we collect data, how we keep it all. We redact stuff out that's personal, and then we basically keep it for the season, and then we destroy it after that. This year for scholarships, we obviously, you can see on the top, a large chunk to Camp Corte Madera and a large chunk to childcare, almost $50,000 total to those two programs. Richmond classes had 10 total applicants for $4,700. Youth classes had 9. Competitive soccer had 5. Rec soccer had 4. And senior classes had 4. We really love to get some more seniors to apply. Senior programs aren't very expensive right now. They're about $5 a piece. So there's not a great request for that. I think if those expand or we offer more programs, more trips, I think that request will go up. But we have 1 or 2 seniors who ask every year for their chair yoga to be forgiven or their Tai Chi to be forgiven or something else. So there's definitely a focus on youth as of right now. Alex and Pogo, the two Alex teams who just left, really do go the extra mile. They work 2 ways. They work with the Marin Child Care Council to say, look, if you've reached all your funding, here's other ways to get funding so you can still participate in these programs, especially for summer camp, especially for childcare. They are constantly working with families, constantly working with the forums, constantly working with their caseworkers to make sure these kids can come in the program. And we basically enroll them all and then basically keep track of all the registration, keep track of all the enrollment, and then back on the back end. So it's a lot of paperwork for Alex and Pogo to keep track of. Second thing is we really have a really great relationship with the district. Susan Reckness and Karina Hernandez are 2 amazing individuals who really make sure those kids who need those programs are connected with us. At the end of every school year, I sit down with both of them and usually the principal and say, okay, what's your enrollment look like? We're kids that we know are going to constantly or need that care, especially for childcare, especially for summer camps, and then really work to figure out how we maximize the ability for them to take those programs because they really do need the childcare. They need the ability because the parents can't pick them up until after 6. And otherwise, these kids are just sitting on the playground or sitting out in the park, which we don't want. We want them engaged. I can't speak enough for how much Alex and Pogo do for childcare, homework club, snack activities and games where these kids really enjoy and really value being there on a regular basis. That is my presentation right now as a summary. I will answer any questions you may like. Really has exploded in the last year. We get requests all the time for scholarships. We constantly go back to council to ask for more money for the childcare fund just because, we really don't want those kids sitting outside, right? We want them in a program, we want them engaged. And if we can put them in our camp and we have enough room, or put them in our childcare, we have enough room, we absolutely welcome in to our programs.
Questions?
Do you want her to go first?
Yeah. Thank you, Tim, for pointing out that the adult one is really underutilized, and I wondered what the strategy was to try to get the word out that it's available. If you want to take a watercolor class, it's $110, but the limit is $200 a year for a person, so it doesn't go very far. And I know that the goal was to have 80% funded for youth and 20% for adults, but it turned out to be 5% for adults. So we need to do something to spread the word. And it will probably change dramatically with the Intergenerational Center when there are membership fees for that. So I'm just, planting the seed of what are we going to do about the uh, spreading the word about that. And is there a bucket size, or do you just go back to the council when you need more money?
So we start out at 50,000 a year, and then basically in a mid-year budget review, I can go back and ask for more money and explain what scholarship requests we've had. I 100% agree with you. When the membership fee happens, even if it's a small membership fee for the Interest Center, people are going to ask for that. And I think we're still in discussion of what it's going to be, but I think we will get more of that. We haven't had any requests for this watercolor fund or pickleball or that kind of stuff. It's mostly been the drop in, I really want to take yoga or chair yoga 2 days a week. I only get forward one day, or I want to take seniors and balance, that kind of stuff. So I think a lot of the seniors are I think when that happens, I think that'll change quite a bit.
Tim, when it comes to I'm thinking about kind of childcare in camp in particular, where if you don't have the funds, that kid could be wandering. Do we have a shortage ever? Or okay.
No.
We-
The direction from council has been basically no child left outside. Figure out a way, if it's us being there or working to find extra funds, that the kid, if his child needs care after school, we'll figure out a way to make it happen.
Okay.
And what I might say no is if you're already in Chuck or you want to take 3 other classes, I may say, well, you got to choose. Do you want to take this art class on Tuesday, Thursdays and not go to childcare, or which one do you want to do? So I think there's a little discussion I have with the parents quite a bit. But I think if it's the essential care needed for every day, I think that's something we can provide and happen.
That's really great. I had a slightly different question. So, with the house size and the annual household income for eligibility, where does that come from?
So that comes from the Department of Housing and Community Development for Marin County. So every county is different. So that is how
Okay.
every scholarship program is basically based on of if you have these many people in your household, if you make this amount, then you qualify. So that's pretty much standard across the board for all scholarship programs.
Okay, and is that just the floor? Like that's what they say, and then we can make it more selective or less, or
It's to qualify. So if you have one household, you make this or under, then you qualify for the scholarship program.
sure. But we could, just curiosity, are we able to make it a little bit more critical? Like, could we say, hey, we think that 109 is something that we don't think is enough to qualify, so we'll make it 80 instead?
We can set any limits we want. That's based on what the county calls low income, and that's where that number comes from. There's obviously certain levels, but that was the low income level to qualify. I mean, I can change it. If direction is to make it very low income, that would be something to look at and say, if now it drops even lower, how much more are we giving in scholarships? I think most people who are applying are going to qualify. There's not a question they're going to qualify or not, but most everybody who applies qualifies and gets the scholarship.
I'm thinking more towards what we were talking about, where let's say $200 or $400 doesn't go as far. So I was just brainstorming if there is a world where we do a larger sum per person and we just kind of make it a little bit more selective, where we're really focusing on the people that need it as opposed to using it more as like discretionary, because
So I would say the people who need it, who ask it for summer camp or childcare, get the funds they need. I don't usually turn those people away. The people who ask and say, hey, I want to take 6 classes after school, it's like, well, you qualified. Here's your $1,000 to the family. You choose how you want to allocate it. So that's what we kind of set that barometer at. But the people who really need it, we don't usually turn away, who need childcare or who need summer camp.
I think what is helpful is that these numbers are set by the state and kind of government bodies, and they're used in multiple places, which removes the obligation for us to get to a unifying view of what may be interpreted as a subjective
Sure.
number. So I think if there are more extreme cases of this, certainly there are tiers that we could go look at. But I think this is what has been kind of given as standard. And I think to Tim's point, it's not the range is quite vast underneath all of these numbers. This is the number by which you get nothing. And I think it gets complicated by the range by which under sliding scales get complicated, but kind of that's where we've studied it. And if we're interested as a commission in seeing what those other qualifying charts that the state may have available to kind of talk about that, it is something we could explore if that is what you guys are interested in.
I was more so just curious because I know, like you said, right? Like $200, $400, it doesn't go that far considering the price point, right? So I just wanted to make sure that if somebody who can't afford as much could be given a little bit more, and that's kind of where it was coming from.
So what I tell everybody is it's a starting point. So at least apply. Once you give me all your information once, it's good for the full year, right? So I don't just wait till the year's end. And then I can say, especially with the new system, we're able to go in and add the money to their account and they can basically use it for whatever they want. So it's like if your family's qualified, you can decide if you want to do it on enrichment or a soccer class or a special event. It's the money is there for you to use for the year. And if you need more, you can always come back and ask for additional funds and I will see where we are in the current balance.
Correct me if this is wrong, but our town fiscal year runs July to June.
Correct.
So when he says a year, it's kind of like a school year piece. So
Mhm.
kind of it keeps going up.
And I do have a little more flexibility in the summertime because those organizations do give us additional money just for scholarships for summer camp. So we really try those kids who need that. And like Alex was saying that we used to have a partnership with the school who had summer school in the morning. They stopped that last summer. So we used to have probably 30 to 35 kids who just came for us for a half day after summer school because they had nowhere else to go. So we really partnered and said, look, these kids will not come to summer school if they don't have after school care. So they helped us financially. And then we matched that and had those kids go to summer school in the morning and then us in the afternoon. And they were able to, partake and improve their education this summer.
But yeah, you can get a scholarship in the spring and it's a whole nother budget if you come for scholarship in the fall.
Okay.
Calendar year, but
But we reevaluate the program on the calendar year, not the fiscal year.
Fiscal year. No. Yeah,
But as to what Patty was.
Which year are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned,
And I don't see, Rebecca can correct me wrong. I think that the sales tax was made for this, right? You want these kids. So I think going back to council saying, hey, we're serving 25, 30 families. Here's what we've spent it on. Here's the allocation. The additional funds are usually granted when I ask for it. One thing that we're going to do next year in the budget cycle is we're going to literally pull out to each program. Right now, it's one giant scholarship number. Next year, we're going to pull it. So it's going to be 15,000 in summer camps. It's going to be 12,000 in soccer. So they at least can see where it's all going. Instead of me having to do a report to say, here's how it all breaks out. So that's just a change for next year for them to see, what programs in the budget breakout shows it. So.
And it really, so much of it is going to childcare and summer camp.
Yeah.
That just in terms of applications and funds.
I have a related question to that. You mentioned that you had to go back to the council and ask for additional money. Like, how much did it end up to being, like the whole scholarship?
For the full fiscal year, it's about 80 grand total. Yeah, it's about $80,000 total. And I think when we first started, we were at like 35 or 32. So definitely word has gotten out. And we have our core 25 or so families who communicate with me on a regular basis, who we know, Alex and Pogo know, and this district knows. So we know that they're the ones that qualify. So we build those relationships over the years with those families. Alex speaks Spanish fluently. That's a huge asset to have. And then just to communicate with what's going on and get them in our programs.
Follow up here. Do we have any sort of scholarships that we offer for like college and things like that, or it's mainly for after school?
It's our program. So participating in our programs.
Is that something that other places do, like college scholarships, or is that just too expensive?
They don't do it in the cities or towns. What they might do is through your local Lions Club, Women's Club, that kind of stuff. I think the Women's Club actually does have a scholarship they get every year to, I think our past youth commissioner actually received it last year, I believe, for their college education. So they will identify and they fill an application for that. It's part of the philanthropy of being Women's, Rotary, Lions, etc.
All right. Any more questions before we open for public comment?
Just generally, for context, how well would you say the scholarship program is working?
The only challenge is getting people to write down exactly what they want to do. So I think that's the challenge. I think when we ask for the school year, they may not know what class they want. They may want art or they list a bunch of things. So I work with them to say, hey, here's where your bucket's from. Where do you want to put it towards? Or be please as specific as possible of what you want so that I can know to make sure there's still space. A lot of times they don't know yet, right? They're unsure, or they're like, well, I don't know what day my soccer is going to be. So maybe I don't know what day I want to take art or that kind of stuff. So just working with them on that.
Rebecca, do we have any email, public comment, or raised hands?
We did not receive any emailed public comment on this item, and there are no online attendees at the moment.
All right. Any more comments and discussion before we move to our next item? Last call, scholarship. Excellent. Tim, take us to our next item, which is review and possible recommendation to town council to adopt a resolution formalizing a Parks and Recreation fee schedule.
It's been a PowerPoint week. Here we go. Okay. Smallish. So annually, the commission reviews kind of our master fee schedules. And keep in mind, these are fees just for facilities. They're not program fees. These are just for facility rentals, memorial donation program, our community center rentals. But basically, the intention is basically to get approval from commission tonight. And any of these new fees would take place July 1st of this year. Currently, the commission reviewed these fees on the December 16th of 2024 and approved by town council on January 21st of 2025. Our philosophy as a schedule is intentionally structured to make facilities affordable and accessible to residents and community nonprofits. You will see when we review our fees for non-residents or for-profit organizations are much higher. That is pretty common across the entire board for any organization. They're really going to cater towards residents and nonprofits. Charging higher revenue recovery rates for non-residents and commercial use. This is really a commitment to us for community access and local benefits. There was a big discussion of making sure it was affordable and we didn't price people out. Again, just our town civic organizations that don't pay any fees for the use of our building. The round number is about $200,000 in fees that we don't charge. So that's still the direction from commission, so direction council. So if we charged all these groups, which we don't want to do, would be about $200,000. The biggest impact is literally just the facility rental fees. We have a small staffing fees. Our staff who work these events get paid about $17, $19 an hour. It's safer for us to have a staff member there. But if we charge these groups, that's how much it would be. And the direction has obviously been still, look, the benefit these groups give back to the community makes sense. So if we use a community center, use of the park, use of a Menke Park for a special event or the fields, basically this is the way we do it. Just last year, we added Spark, which was new. They'd never been a town civic organization. They've held 2 events this year. They held their indoor event. I don't know. I see what it is. Thank you, beer pong. And they had an outdoor community event concert series, which was an amazing concert. Food trucks. They had games for the kids. They had all kinds of stuff. It was really a great event and well participated. And they're probably gonna do it again next year. I'm guessing in August, September when the weather's nice. But they had a great turnout for that. This is just one of the charts I included in the packet. I'm sorry, it's a very large packet of our current fees compared to Mill Valley, which is next door. The challenge you'll see when we review fees is no one's the same. So some cities charge more for a weekday fee. Some charge more for a weekend fee. Some facilities are bigger. Some facilities are smaller. When we go and look at the comparison, we are pretty comparable to a Novato or San Rafael. Mill Valley is a much bigger community center. They charge a little more. There's different amenities that they get compared to that we get here. Like Steve said, literally, when you rent the community center, you get the entire package, the kitchen, the patio, the use of tables and chairs in the main room, all for the same price. This is a little comparison of us to Mill Valley. Here's the information that I pulled just so you can kind of see where they charge. They are going through the same process we are right now. So literally every year they kind of look at the fees. Rebecca and I were discussing that since the town has now gone to a 2-year budget cycle, maybe something we do every 2 years. So we kind of align with the budget cycle, so it makes sense. So commission and council don't have to review this every year. This is a summary chart. I hope this makes the most sense. We tried to kind of combine so you can kind of see we pulled out a couple of things that are comparable. I pulled out the main hall rental. I pulled out the gym rental. I pulled out the picnic areas, athletic fields, the sand volleyball court, which is growing in popularity, and the kind of memorial bench fee program or memorial donation program. Sorry, more to see where they charge. And we were pretty comparable where we are. My recommendation for this year is not make any changes. We're the best financial space we've been in probably 7 or 8 years. We just had a meeting with Chris Petlock, our finance director, when we did our master fee study and our strategic planning session. And probably 5 years ago, we were losing $700,000. We are about net zero, and we'd like to keep it right where we are. I think we're competitive with our what we're charging. We're competitive in what we're charging for both programs and facilities. And like Steve said, really, it's very popular. People are always want to rent the facility. I think the only question we get is, did you have a smaller room? Which we really don't. I think that's one of the challenges we talk about facilities and classrooms. The big room's great, but if you have a small meeting, it's not great, right? For the big bar mitzvahs, the weddings, or the quinceañeras, or the yard sales, it's great. I think that's a problem we're running, just of not having a smaller space to hold small meetings. If, let's say, Twin Cities Little League wanted to meet, or someone else wanted to meet, a smaller room that could hold 20 to 25 people is the biggest thing. So my discussion is really not to change any fees, to keep it how it is, status quo, and then basically when we do our next year's budget, review them again. And then one great thing about Park and Rec is we're always talking to our neighbors. Like, what are you charging? Are you thinking you're raising fees? What are your challenges? And I think that's a great resource to figure out, hey, we're right where we think we need to be. And I think we're charging our residents and our nonprofits so that they're still manageable for them to have a program at a reasonable rate, and then still have the opportunity to raise money if you're a nonprofit or to get access. So that is my recommendation tonight. And then just looking for questions or comments. And then this will go to town council probably in the second meeting of February for an adoption for the 26-27 year.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate the green chart with all the everything all in one. I think we made a comment, which I think is kind of helpful for all of commission to talk about, to hear, but kind of the goals of the fees is to provide coverage for costs, but not to become a profit center. Is that
Yes,
fair and accurate?
very much so.
I don't have any further questions.
I have a question. So do we have any sense of what the breakdown of percentage of residents versus non-residents versus nonprofits versus commercial that are actually where we're getting the revenue from, and how much that equates to the use?
So I think it depends on what facility you're talking about. So every facility is a little different.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Steve will probably tell you, most of our rentals in our facility come from non-residents because they like the location. We're very centrally located. We are reasonable price even for non-residents to say, hey, look, you're going to come in and literally, we have everything here. You really don't need to bring, unless you want to bring in some fancy chair covers or some outdoor heaters. Pretty much everything is here. When they go and tour the places, like, this makes the most sense. We have a bar that works, got a really nice ice machine. You've got a patio. I think for the rentals of that, we attract a lot of people, and it's a nice area. And it's a nice community center. I think for the field, it is mostly some residents who have some private rentals. Most of our fields are booked solid. I mean, I will tell you, if it's not covered with soccer or lacrosse or rugby, it's with other pickups. So there's not a huge amount of field rentals. And the Steve's gym rentals are literally, like he talked about, CYO is pretty much 2/3 of the year, and the other half of the year, third of the year, we're running summer camps or classes in them. So I think for the gym use, it's a lot of nonprofits, residential. For the rental of the facility, it's more non-residents who want to come in and experience Corte Madera. We don't get a lot of filming permit fees. We get them every once in a while. Famous chef wants to shoot a commercial, or I think when I first got here, Cheetos wanted to shoot a soccer commercial on the field, but they didn't end up doing it. Just you get the most random questions. You really be surprised. And then our memorial donation program fees have definitely in line with everybody else, and we've had 2 go in this year, which is great. For the first year, it's actually been working. A little more coordination than I anticipated Public Works, but I think most of that is if I would say non-resident, um, community center rentals, memorial program fees, and then the resident nonprofits for the community center, not community center, for the facilities, and the parks. Yeah.
When was the last time that we raised the fees or adjusted the fees?
So we raised some fees last year. We limited the tennis court fees last year, but we raised the rec center fees a percentage last year, and we raised the picnic area fees percentage last year also. When I first got here, we hadn't touched these in it was 8 to 10. It was 8 to 10. It was a long time. They hadn't been touched at all. So we did the research. Some cities have a natural elevator. It's a 2% or 1%, depending what it is.
That was my next question.
Some don't. Some really keep the or some really want to keep it low. And I think like the focus is really if we want to make it reasonable, if you're a resident or a non-resident in Corte Madera, Larkspur, or a nonprofit, to hold your event where it's at home, it's close, it's reasonably priced, and I think that's the increase Steve has seen over the last 6 months to a year.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question is, do we index to like inflation or something like that? But yeah, I think that absolutely on board with your recommendation. If we're at net zero, we're not trying to make a profit or anything. Great. The only thing that is in my mind is it's kind of great if most of the revenue is coming from non-resident or commercial use that you have greater, I think, price leverage for if we need to cover costs in the future or raise them in the future. That's just sort of where my mind was at. But seems like we're pretty competitive and in good shape. So
What percentage do we put towards like, I don't even call it R&D, but like you said you wanted to have slightly smaller rooms for meetings, right? Like there are these like Chinese wall pulling things, like dividers. We just got them, not that expensive, but like I mean, everything costs quite a bit, but like they allow you to like separate the rooms into smaller spaces and then like create sliding doors so that it's ADA compliant. And I feel like if we were able to like do that, because from what I understand, we're at a 66% occupancy, right? 32 weekends.
Yep.
So would it almost make sense for us to be able to invest in those things? So if someone wants 20 people, they're not having to do 100 people.
I think your challenge is the way the community center is laid out. It's a very big, large room, and it's very hard to have two things in the same room with white wall dividers. Right now on Thursdays, for example, Thursdays are a busy day. We have by our patio doors, we have drop-in bridge. On the other side, we have drop-in mahjong, and it's still separated, but it's still very noisy. So I think it's very hard to have that set up in those two rooms.
Can I add that we did
Ditto.
look at that a few years ago when we were looking at having as-built plans drawn up for the community center, and we were really thinking about putting together a plan to renovate the community center. And that was one of the things that was looked at. And if we renovated the existing space to accommodate flexibility to change the sizes, we would lose the ability of that space to serve as a main hall in the current way that it does for events, because we would have had to have brought the ceiling down. It's got vaulted ceilings. So we would have had to have dropped the ceiling in order to have the floor to ceiling room dividers. And I think we decided that the vaulted ceilings are a really big selling point of that space for weddings and special events.
One of the things we can think about as kind of going beyond kind of the community center itself is where do we find classroom and gym space, right? It's just as a community is challenging. So we use the schools, of course, we use the
dance studio.
The dance studio and the whole Park Madera Center is part of is owned by the town. And so there's a question of how do we start to think about other spaces. One of the challenges with the intergenerational center was it didn't fit in the community center. We tried to make all of that happen for a period of time, and there was nowhere for staff to work. So now we have found a new space for the intergenerational center. So I think some of these things is like a partnership with council to say we need more classroom space, or we need this kind of classroom space, or this kind of meeting space somewhere in the community.
And one of the other factors that was evaluated at that same time, I think this was 2021, maybe, was putting modular space outside of the community center in a sort of underused space just behind the building, adjacent to the driveway at the rear. But then you have basically a classroom trailer sitting in the park space, and that wasn't
Yeah.
well received either.
This nice space for meetings that I don't know if it is rentable, but
Nice.
No, not rentable.
No.
Can you rent a dance studio?
can you? Yeah.
You can. We try not to because the challenge is the bathroom is upstairs. So it's hard
Not
to,
ADA accessible.
it's not ADA accessible. So we have some classes in there, but the bathroom is upstairs and there's no ramp to get into the facility. So we use it for a couple of classes, but we don't rent it out very often. Yeah. But when I first got here, there was a long-term rental that was in there that then turned it over to us. But it poses challenges. I mean, I'm sure Patty's been, it's not a very warm room. It's very cold. And it's got mirrors along the side. So just
You got to dance.
you got to dance, right? Belly dance keeps it warm. No, but right now we don't usually. We just hold our classes there.
Yeah, a lot of teens probably would want to rent that space to like do their dance,
Teens?
like kids
Have
and
money.
teens. But their parents do.
Scholarship.
I think
Gosh.
Yeah, but one of the things, and maybe this is just my like, I don't know. To me, it's like, why are we doing the comped versions for a lot of these groups that in other cities pay for hosting events? Like, for example, the Lions Club, they're in Sausalito, they go to the yacht club and they pay for it, right? And similar sort of thing. And I almost feel like if we're at a net zero, if we could be at a positive 200, then a lot of these things are inbuilt into the budget.
So this is a direction from council.
there you go.
Yes. And the Lions built
The
built.
Lions Club built the community center and then I think transferred it to the town for
I think it would be very politically.
Okay.
Charge.
Thank you. I think there's a good balance still. We still work with the group to say, okay, what are your special events? What are the big things you do? And we program around it. I think those groups give so much back to the community and are so active that I think it would just I would have a job, I think I would say nice, but I would say like they're in the building a lot. And I think we appreciate having them in the building and having them on a regular basis. So I think the other thing I would, I'm always pushing for is like more classroom space. So like as Park Madera Center evolves over the next couple of years, are there opportunities with the Entertainment Center? Are there opportunities to hold some outdoor stuff, different things? I think it would be helpful that are outside the regular community center. So
One thing I've always suggested because of the no bathroom situation is one of those fancy schmancy trailers that has flushable toilets and things to have that over there and be available on the ground floor. So something to think about. But I had two questions. One is I noticed in Larkspur's memorial bench, it said at cost. Is that we're not making a profit on the memorial bench?
we are not making a cost. And actually the entire memorial bench donation program is a tax write-off. So someone can actually write off whatever they donate. The one we just did for a bench was at, I think it was like $5,998. So right at the $6,000 mark. They're at cost. For example, somebody picks out a lavishly expensive bench that they're going to charge how much it's going to cost. But he's built anything right now. Concrete's very expensive, as we've learned. So all of a sudden, you've got to put a ADA pad in, the price is going to go up. So we were very happy to see, at least for this current year, the two we put in, we're about where we should be. And commission has given us direction on the benches they like, and that's the ones that'll go in going forward. But I think a lot of cities gave options of this bench or that. I think Mill Valley had a water fountain you could put in. Those are a little more,
Right.
or a tree, I think it was. I think for right now, the bench and the picnic benches and the picnic tables make the most sense for us.
And then the other thing about Larkspur, I know for the children's programs and maybe every program, it's you must be a resident of Corte Madera or Larkspur. Larkspur doesn't currently have recreation programs, but are we anticipating reciprocity so that we get something for how generous we've been all these years with Larkspurians?
So Larkspur has a small rec department. It's a man of one, and maybe an assistant. They do some middle school programming on the Hall campus. They do some field allocations for the groups for, I think it's girls softball, and I believe it's rugby. I want to say uses the athletic turf field. We partner with them for the egg hunt, and then there's always an opportunity to partner with them for future events. But right now, that's the discount we would give them for those two. But they have very small programs. I think I'm not guess how many years ago there was a discussion of merging the two departments, but it basically is still separate. But they're a small group, and they actually are just moving to a trailer in Piper Park because the district is taking over their offices, which were on the Hall campus. So they're being booted out, and they're going to actually have a trailer in the park starting.
So the question is, how do we capture Larkspur Parks and Rec and get funding over here from them? That's
another politically
the
motivated. I'm not
question.
going there.
Do not answer that. I do have a follow-up question on this, though. Do we have a target for occupancy in these? Like, I think,
In the community center, yes, there's a target occupancy that's
Okay.
posted, yes, that we target.
and that is 66 or where we're at, or where we're.
Do you mean not, you mean?
You mean how many rentals out?
Rentals per year or number of people that are.
As opposed to number of people at a time.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean rentals per year. Like we want 66% occupancy. That's the goal and target that we're going for so that we can make sure we're net zero.
No,
net
we
positive.
don't. We don't have a target. I mean, we've been, like Steve said, very popular and very busy. We don't have a 70% or 80% target. I think the challenge with that is the towns organizations take up a lot of time where we could rent it out. They have regular meetings. So for example, Lions Club meets the second and fourth Thursday of the month. So if I want to book a Zumba class every Thursday, they have to take 2 weeks off every month. So it's not really profitable. Or if I have an AARP or an AA meeting wants to meet, they can't meet because the talent band or the big band as a second Wednesday of the month has a concert. So that's challenging where we can't fill those because they want a full conscious 4 or 5 weeks in a row, but they can't because it gets broken up. So there's just certain days we know that we can go later because there's not a town center organization meeting on a regular basis.
But then the other benefit is because you have so much inbuilt business that there is not as much fluctuation year to year.
Correct.
So if you're at net zero this year, barring Touchwood, any of the organizations that take up 60 to 80% of your calendar going out of commission, Touchwood, right? Like you're pretty much set. So it's just kind of like a net zero cycle that you're in, right?
Correct.
So
Based on if we choose to raise fees next year or whatever else, if there's an increase, correct?
public events are great, but they're not really moving the needle for us too much. It's like icing on the cake in some capacity.
My only other question is like with the keeping the fees, I think makes sense. Do we expect like the cost to increase next year? So then it might not be net zero, like labor costs, cost to maintain.
No, because I guess yeah. So right now in the Park and Rec budget, the facility or the field cost, Public Works isn't encumbered any of that cost. So right now there's no cost for someone to mow the grass or aerate or fertilate. It's totally in Public Works budget. I think if we see increases in cost of renting or cost of allocation, then we could look at raising it up. But I'm not worried about that for the next year. Like I said, I think we've been the best we've been in a long time, and I think we try not to price gouge people, but if people are, the higher fees are going to come to those non-residents, those bigger parties, right? Because there are longer parties, there's different requirements, there's a large security deposit. So those are where I think a lot of that revenue is coming from, not from the one-offs of the resident who wants to have a 5-year-old birthday party and pick the area, that kind of stuff.
Becca, do we have any raised hands?
We do not have any online participants at the moment, and we did not receive any emailed public comments on this item.
Gonna have to get something juicy on the agenda one of these days to amp up the public comments. Do we need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, so
I need a motion in a second, please.
yes, can I get a motion to approve the fee schedule as presented?
I second.
Or did I do-
I first motion to approve the fee schedule as presented.
Becca, can we get a vote, please?
Commissioner Hoskins,
Yes.
Commissioner Rose is absent, Commissioner Stoliar,
Yes.
Commissioner Smack,
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Condaria,
Yes.
Chair Miles.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes.
Right. We are moving on to updates.
A couple quick things. As Sydney said, the Royal Ball is coming up next Friday. Good attendance, but there's still room. It's our second-year event. We learned a lot from last year, bringing back some of the same DJ, the photo booth, and the food. Everybody really likes the event. So I anticipate another good quality event. Town Park Playground update. They are finalizing the contract hopefully tomorrow so that we can actually get going on construction in February like we had originally planned. And then the East Field update, they received a qualifying bid for the renovation of the field to include the gopher wire also. Final numbers haven't come out yet, but basically they did receive a bid that would fulfill their need and come under the budget. So Public Works will working on that. The original plan is still, I believe, the second week of February to actually start that project. So the field's been open until then. And then when I actually get the date, we will notify and put up the fencing so people know that project's happening.
Have an approximate timeline?
I haven't met with the contractor. I don't know. I would guess, I don't want to guess on it. I mean, obviously, you have to take all the stuff out, regrade it, put the new turf back in, let all the roots grow and everything else. It all depends on weather, right? We've been in this dry spell, and then we had the monsoon into January or December. So I don't know, but I'll find out Public Works. Last thing I'll have is just a little recap of the strategic planning session on Friday. Council looked at kind of all of our ideas and tasks and realized, and I talked to Town Manager Wolf saying, I don't want to put items that we're not going to get to. So I think we have the items for right now of updating the agreements, working on the Intergenerational Center, and working on the exercise equipment, however we want to call it, fit lot or whatever else, as the first part of the year. And then to come back in the mid-year in 2026 to figure out what other items we want to add back on. I will tell you word is out about the fit lot because I'm getting calls left and right. I probably have had 5 vendors call me, everything from the fit lot person to someone else from National Demonstration Site to everything else. So we're on the map, I guess. So I've been kind of feeling that all out with everybody. I will probably come back with an idea before we go out with some kind of feedback on the actual progress. I'm attending a conference in March for the National CPRS in Long Beach where there will be all the vendors there. So I promise I won't hurt myself on the apparatus. I will go and look at them and kind of report back. But just through some research, figuring out what the next step is compared to building a lot itself, some donations, or working with someone like FitLot where they go out and find the donations, they program it for you, and then we'll work the whole process of location. Will people use it? Is there something they want? And then go back from there for commission. And that's all I have.
This might be a really dumb question because I'm new, but what exactly is the Royal Ball? I get it's a dance, but what exactly is it?
The Royal Ball is an opportunity for families with their children to get dressed up and have a night out and a dance. Years ago, they had mother-son and father-daughter dances. And they got a little out of control, is what I told before I got here. People had a great time, but it was a little bit of a little chaotic. So now they do the Royal Ball where everyone's welcome to come, parent, aunt, uncle, child, whatever, niece, nephew, to come and have they get dressed up. You'll see a lot of dresses. You'll see a lot of suits and ties, take formal pictures, and the kids and parents have a good time dancing in the community center.
And it's no cost.
There is a cost.
There is a cost.
There is a cost. I want to
Okay.
say it's on top of my head. We do surf. I want to say it's like $40. I don't. It's not very expensive, but there's food. There's the DJ. So yeah,
40 per person
I
approximately?
think it's 40 per person. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not.
I know I won't. I'm going with estimate.
But it was the last year's anniversary. It brought it back in quite a few years. It was very popular. Becky can tell you the stories of literally they used to have them back to back to back because it was so popular. So, yeah, we did learn something from last year. We are going to issue tickets because people would buy and sell tickets, and a couple people made some profits off some people, which I wasn't happy about. So, literally, if you
Ticketmaster's got
pretty much, yeah. So if you sign up, we were going to issue a ticket that says Alden Miles is coming with her son. So this is who's supposed to be here, not somebody else. So we learned that last year. So hot commodity.
All right, commissioner updates. The town council meeting. All right. Do that next time. Yes.
The Tai Chi class, will that continue free?
The Tai Chi class will continue free till right now, the end of June is what I have funding for. So in my mid-year budget, when I go back to ask for money for the scholarship and ask money to fund that also through the next fiscal year.
Thank you.
The Eastfield Ad Hoc Subcommittee did not meet, but Tim already updated us on the Eastfield. The Executive Advisor Committee did not meet. Any individual commissioner updates?
Tim Rose apologizes for missing. He totally forgot about the meeting. Totally my fault, he said. Like, it's okay. We forgive you.
All right. Before we close this meeting, is there anything that we want to put on the agenda for future agenda items? we need something juicy to get people here. So please, that is your assignment between now and the next one. Controversial topics, please. We need to get something fun on the agenda.
Are you
Public
sure?
involved.
I want to just say kudos to us for going through prioritizing what our goals and our priorities were and coming up with things that we did in a democratic style. So it's a heavy lift to figure out out of all the things that there are to try to prioritize it. So yay for us.
And we've done it for this year and for next year already. So we can get working on 2027.
Long live Basil.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So as a reminder, February, you're on deck for
Yeah.
reporting back what's happening at town council. All right. If there's nothing else, we will close this meeting. Thank you so much for your attendance.